Let's talk about Scream 2. This film was directed by Wes Craven, most notably starring Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, and David Arquette. It was released on December 12th of 1997, and it has a runtime of 120 minutes. This film takes place a year after the massacre in the first film, which became so popularized that they made a movie about it, and people who saw it in the theaters would get a Ghostface costume and scare each other with it. This film also follows Sidney Prescott, just like the first film, and she's become much more quiet and reserved. She doesn't like to go out and party or have any big social gatherings, and she has a much smaller social circle. And naturally, she's become much more cautious after the trauma she experienced in the first film. Now, my biggest positive with this film is you can tell that they're being more self-aware and that they're having a lot more fun with it. They're being a lot more lighthearted. It's not something they're trying to take too seriously, and they're not wasting your time trying to develop all these characters or take them seriously. It's overall a much better film in the aspect of its self-awareness. Now, the Ghostface killer in this film, I would say he really delivered just as well as he did in the first one, minus the calls. Like when he would call his victims in the first film, there's a lot more lightheartedness to it and a lot more humor. Here in the sequel, there's really not as much of it. It feels a lot more dry, and they're taking the calls a bit more seriously. It just doesn't work in that sense. That was one aspect that really disappointed me. But at the same time, when you actually saw the Ghostface killer, he would definitely go over the top. I would say even more so than the first film. And he was a lot more clumsy, which in my opinion really contributed more to the humor. So if you can take that into account, it really evens out. And I think this film overall had much more of the lightheartedness and humor in it. By far, my favorite character in the first Scream was Randy, particularly because he was the biggest source of comedy, and he always delivered when he had screen time. And in this sequel, he has a lot more screen time dedicated to him, and he has a lot more to do and interact with. Like, he's actually helping Deputy Dewey investigate what's going on with this Ghostface killer, and he's giving his insight and theories on it. Overall, this was a really solid sequel. They dedicated a lot more screen time to the murder mystery aspect of this film, and they also had a lot more humor and lightheartedness to it, and they dedicated more screen time to characters that contributed more to this film. Overall, I'm giving Scream 2 an 8 out of 10. But as always, I hope you enjoyed this review. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you in the next video.